Welcome to Commerce with Karanta Lane, your complete academy for business, accounting, and economics.
Hey everyone! Today we're going to demystify something we literally all encounter, but kind of rarely get to see from the inside out, the actual mechanics of how companies hire. We're peeling back the curtain on the whole recruitment and selection process. We want to see exactly what happens from that exact moment a business realizes, hey, we need some help, to the moment they finally offer someone a job. It really all boils down to one fundamental question, right? How do businesses actually find the perfect person for a job? Well, I'll tell you right now, it's not just about slapping a help wanted sign in the window anymore. No way. It's a highly structured quest. A business goes on this precise, multi-step journey to filter out all the noise and find that one perfect fit. And listen, understanding this quest gives you a massive advantage, whether you're studying business mechanics for an exam or just navigating the job market yourself.
So here's our roadmap for this explainer. 1. Types of employment contracts. 2. The stages of recruitment. 3. Decoding essential recruitment documents. And finally, 4. Finding the perfect candidate. Let's dive right in.
Starting off with Section 1, Types of Employment Contracts. Okay, so before a business can even start thinking about who they want, they've got to figure out exactly what kind of help they actually need. And there are 4 main ways a business can employ someone. First up, the classic, full-time employment. In places like the UK, labor law generally considers this to be 35 hours a week or more. It's your standard, dedicated, everyday worker. But, what if a business doesn't need 35 hours? That is where part-time comes in, usually sitting somewhere between 1 and 30 hours a week. What's absolutely great here is the flexibility. To put that into perspective, part-time employees at the US company Costco are required to work a minimum of 24 hours just to keep their employee benefits. So it's a very precise balance. Then we have job sharing. This is such a brilliant concept where a role is literally broken up into 2 part-time contracts. Imagine a split shift where worker A covers, say, 8 a.m. to 1 p.m., and then worker B takes over the desk from 1 p.m. to 6 p.m. It's a real win-win. Finally, there's temporary and casual employment. This is for when a business needs someone for a very specific, limited window. Think of a ski instructor hired to work for just 2 months during the winter season at a resort in the French Alps. They show up when the business needs them, and once the snow melts away, so does the contract.
Now, here is a crucial tip if you're analyzing this for business studies. You absolutely must be precise. When defining a type of employment, don't just generalize. Use specific hour brackets and give clear examples. Honestly, precision is what separates a basic understanding from top-tier knowledge.
All right, moving right along to Section 2, the stages of recruitment. So, now that the business knows exactly what contract they need, how do they actually take that vacancy out to the market? Well, it takes 5 distinct phases. It all starts with the define stage. This is where the business clearly outlines the role, crafting the specific job description and specification. Next, they hit the source stage. They have to sit down and decide, are we looking for this person internally, like among our own staff, or externally, out in the wide world? Once that's decided, they advertise, using the most cost-effective methods to actually reach those candidates. Maybe that's a platform like LinkedIn, for example. Then comes the overwhelming part, receive applications. This is where they collate all those incoming CVs and cover letters and painstakingly whittle them down to a short list. And finally, we reach selection. This is the interview stage, maybe throwing in some assessment tasks, all deliberately designed to pick the absolute best person. It's a highly logical, step-by-step flow. But here is a quick reality check for you. This process isn't rigidly identical for every single company out there. Several variables completely alter how this plays out in the real world, like how urgent is the role? What's the advertising budget look like? The actual nature of the role might demand highly specific, really time-consuming skill assessments. Management might prefer strict application forms over creative CVs. And crucially, the time available changes everything. To put that into perspective, Google's recruitment process famously takes around 6 to 8 weeks. Yeah, they invest heavily in taking their time to get it right, whereas your local cafe, they might hire a barista on the spot in a single afternoon. That brings us to Section 3, decoding essential recruitment documents.
There is this almost secret language in hiring, the exact paperwork businesses use to communicate what they want and to filter out the candidates they don't. Let's look at the stark contrast between 2 documents that people constantly confuse, the person specification and the job description. We need to separate them completely in our minds. The person specification, that is all about the human being. It details the qualifications, the past experience, specific skills like driving or IT capabilities, and the personal characteristics of the absolute ideal candidate. The job description, on the flip side, doesn't care about the applicant's personality at all. It only cares about the role itself. It lists out the daily duties, the hours, the physical location, the managerial responsibilities, and the pay conditions. Basically, one describes the ideal human, and the other describes the everyday job.
To really anchor this in reality, let's clarify exactly who creates what. In the beginning, the employer holds all the cards. They write the job description, they write the person specification, and they are the ones who design the application form. The prospective employee really only has direct control over one primary document in this whole shebang, their curriculum vitae, or CV. And speaking of application forms and CVs, why do companies use one over the other? Well, let's weigh them up. Application forms contain a series of standardized questions. Everyone fills out the exact same boxes. The immense benefit here is that it makes it incredibly easy for the employer to place candidates side by side and compare them totally fairly. The drawback, though, candidates can't really express their unique personality or throw in extra desirable attributes outside of those rigid little boxes. A curriculum vitae, on the other hand, is compiled entirely by the applicant, so it's completely different. It allows you to present your educational and work history in a way that really highlights your unique strengths. This kind of freedom usually encourages more people to apply, right? Because let's face it, it's way easier to send off a standard CV than to sit there and fill out an hour-long form. But for the employer, it can be a massive headache. Comparing 50 wildly different CV formats takes significantly more time and seriously lengthens that whole recruitment process. A quick pro tip here for your studies: you really don't need to memorize the microscopic technicalities of these documents. The real secret is just grasping the core function. If you can clearly articulate why a job description is not a person spec and why an application form is not a CV, you have totally mastered the concept. And finally, Section 4, Finding the Perfect Candidate. Okay, so the documents are ready, the stages are all set, but where does the business actually look? This brings us to the great divide: internal versus external recruitment. Internal recruitment means appointing someone who already works for the business. Maybe it's a promotion, or maybe it's just a lateral move to a different department. It's fantastic for the company because the employee already knows the culture and the business already knows their work ethic. External recruitment, however, is casting the net outside the business to bring in fresh blood, new ideas, and completely different experiences. Now, realistically, businesses rarely rely strictly on just one. They very often use a combination based on their specific goals, the level of the position, and the industry they operate in. Sometimes you really need a trusted veteran from inside, other times you need a complete disruptor from the outside. As we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a thought about your own path. We've just seen how meticulously a business scopes out a role and hunts for the perfect fit. So, looking at your own career trajectory, ask yourself, will your next big opportunity come from an internal promotion where you've already proven your worth, or an external leap into a whole new recruitment pool? Understanding this entire process from the inside out means you're no longer just a candidate, you're a strategic player in their quest. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and keep learning.
Thanks for watching Commerce with Elaine. Don't forget to subscribe for more lessons in business, accounting, and economics. Keep learning smart and score that a star. I'll see you in the next video.